Shingeki no Kyojin in a nutshell! Oh yeah!
Making my way downtown, walking fast.
You know what? Let's just get this fucking review started. Attack on Titan is nowhere near underappreciated whatsoever, with all the hype and attention that's gravitating towards it. Very much like Sword Art Online, it is the most highly acclaimed and overhyped anime of this year so far, with people recommending Attack on Titan from left and from right without even giving a second thought as to what makes Attack on Titan similar to Naruto, Bleach, Claymore, and heck, as I'm recording this, someone's perhaps already recommended Boku no Pico. Can someone please clarify for me, in what world is Attack on Titan similar to this?
What the flying...
Exactly. How the heck is Free related to Attack on Titan? In what way is it similar? Someone please clarify that for me down below in the comments. This does indeed raise the question, does Attack on Titan live up to those high expectations and actually delivers? Or does it fall along with all those high expectations and fails to deliver a decent series? Let's find out. On to the plot.
Attack on Titan takes place in a medieval timeline where civilization have barricaded themselves within these 50-meter tall walls that protect them from these supersized naked human beings with no signs of any massive dicks doing a meat spin, and therefore humans refer to these unique creatures as Titans. So the rundown here is that everyone's pretty much gotten accustomed to living their lives trapped behind these four walls, as there hasn't been an invasion of Titans for around 100 years. Or so we thought. Shortly afterwards, the whole town of Walmaria falls victim to the limited time human buffet for these Titans to finally let loose and eat to their heart's content, with no signs of slowing down. Then, before you know it, the main character Eren and Mikasa's mother falls victim to a Titan's appetite. Thus, the rest of the town becomes nothing but rubble and leftover carcasses of human flesh. After having witnessed this traumatic tragedy, Eren swears vengeance against the Titans and joins the Survey Corps many years down the line. The concept for me is definitely interesting and gives me the vibe and sense of realism of how humanity is acting upon the extermination of mankind. The battles in Attack on Titan is the main attraction and selling point for this series. The first battle we see to defend Wall Rose really had me going. We had the questionable deaths of certain characters, we got some character development as well, we observed how this battle had changed many of the trainees, which was interesting to see how mentally unprepared most people were getting when facing the terror of these Titans, which the plot executed really well, with the helplessness and emotion in every character that brings out the best and worst in certain people. In situations like seeing your comrades that you worked together with side by side for years getting picked and dropped into the mouths of these monsters, forcing you to consider whether or not you would rather take your own life or have it forcibly taken away from you along with your birthright, or take a gamble and go Rambo on the Titan, hoping miracle will aid you in taking that approach. You also got to take into account that these are normal people just like you and me, so to spectacularly somehow just kill the Titan that killed a close comrade of yours immediately with one strike doesn't seem realistic in the slightest, even though this is a shonen. However, midway through defending the wall, the show's pacing really slowed down for me personally, as at that point the story, it was pretty much all left to the characters to push the story forward, which I will discuss further in a minute. But the show's flaws are really noticeable once we get through the first battle, that you can't deny is much slower than what we were accustomed to at the start. So overall, the story won't offer you much complexity or variety, nor even the slightest glimmer of joy, given how serious the story is. What we get here is the nice, simplistic, easy to follow story with epic battles, well built up moments to make even the smallest thing as survival somewhat satisfying, for a story that has death always reigning in with each mission. Therefore, I'll be awarding the story As I touched on earlier, we have Eren, the typical hot-headed protagonist that's always wanting to rush into everything without giving anything as much of a second thought behind his actions, as his determination to get revenge on those titans takes the highest priority on most things, especially when he rushes in to protect his comrades. Then we have Mikasa, the last of the Asian race. She's a juxtaposition of Eren's character, as she's level-headed and the most badass out of most of the characters. But what I find most frustrating about her character is how she's so fixated on Eren, which is understandable given her history, but I feel like she has a lot of potential as a character that could open up much more possibilities in the story, given her talents and swordsmanship. Then we have the Armin. Best way to describe Armin is that he's pretty much the damsel in distress of the show that always needs someone to rescue him and in much need of a pep talk from either Mikasa or Eren to keep him from either dying of a shock or shitting a brick. Despite all of that, he's a brilliant strategist and can think up on his feet at crucial moments, and as the series progresses, his character does develop the most in my opinion compared to Mikasa and Eren. For the characters, I felt like this was where the show had fallen flat on its head. As I mentioned earlier, once the first battle to defend one of the walls comes to a close midway, the pacing incredibly slows down to a point where the show heavily had to rely on the characters to push the story further. And in this case, the main characters felt transparent and lacking in originality, as the main characters had no unique flair to them that sets them apart from most other shonens. Which is why I felt that there were too many archetypes. For example, we got Eren, the hot-blooded guy that follows his instinct and acts first. Mikasa, the hot badass that excels at everything and brings most of the epic scenes to the show at the start, with yet an annoying obsession with pampering her brother's ass. Armin, the pussy whose balls still have yet to drop. Then we have Levi, the cold-hearted badass that's level-headed and keeps everything in order with no display of emotion. For what the main characters lacked, I felt more interested into the side characters, as Potato-chan brought in some joys for a short burst of time. Annie retains this mysterious vibe and seems like she's holding something back, something very crucial to the story. Krista is just a pretty face. Reina is just there. And Jean just seems like a soldier that'll eventually develop to become a great leader. Zoe is just an insane, hyperactive researcher that brings in the enthusiasm of the show, making her really likable. I feel that I would have enjoyed the characters more had they given these side characters more screen time instead of keeping their time really brief, just so they could squeeze in more development for the story. Therefore, I'll be scoring the characters. The animation for Attack on Titan was done by a collaboration of two studios. Production IG, who are known for doing Psycho Pass, Kuroko no Basket, Guilty Crown. As for Wit Studio, they are a brand new studio that haven't done any projects other than this. It was a pretty good first project for them. I suppose it's hard to pinpoint which studio's style had a bigger input into the animation, but overall I found the animation pretty close to the artwork to the manga, so it was interesting to see this unique innovation style of animation being used with its dark, gritty lines you see, the shock on some of the characters. The one thing I didn't particularly like was how thick the outlines were for each character. It was as if both studios couldn't budget enough funds for a sharpener. They just ended up using anything they can find within arm's reach, regardless whether or not it be a blunt pencil. Due to this, at times the thick outlines looked somewhat inconsistent, but that's just me being picky. Therefore, I'll be giving the animation. The soundtrack for Attack on Titan was executed very well. The godly orchestral music worked well in harmony, especially in battle. It really helped build the tension for the grand moments and surprises in the series. So after taking all this into conclusion, I'll be giving the sound. Overall, as overhyped as Attack on Titan is, it does certainly live up to some extent to the hype as a good series. I certainly feel that Attack on Titan would benefit more if there's a continuation of the series, making either an ongoing series, which I don't think is ever a wise move, or a yearly 12 or a 24 episode series that'll come on and off like Bakuman and Toramajutsu no Index. This anime also opens a great opportunity for newcomers who are hesitant to try out anime and should be acknowledged as another gateway anime. Especially how Attack on Titan had one of the best starts to anime in my opinion. The characters could definitely use more work, and I'd recommend Attack on Titan to those of you who are looking for a simple, easy to follow, action-packed story that takes itself seriously. After taking all those scores into account based on plot, characters, animation, sound, and likability, I'll be giving Attack on Titan, which is a pretty good score, mind you. It's closer to an 8 than 7. So I definitely recommend checking out this series if you've watched Sword Art Online, Gurren Lagann, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I'm the Sly Dragon 93. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.